Get ready for the Teen Summit podcast. Presenting the teen co-host, Aisha.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Naya.
I don't think I like the fact that the kittens are being exploded.
Jasmine.
Hi, my name is Jasmine.
And presenting your host, Rachel Bernadette.
Right, we're in there. All right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Teen Summit podcast. Last week on episode 23, we continued our self-awareness series with self-awareness and resolutions, where we talked about New Year's events and how we approach changes in the next year. Today, we are super excited to introduce our new co-host, Jasmine. Hey, Jasmine, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. As you said, my name is Jasmine. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I'm 17 years old, and I attend Code RVA High School.
Great. We're super excited to have you here with us. And we are back on our 24th episode. And tonight we will be talking about a collection of topics, also known as This Week In. Now onto our intro reel.
The Laffy presents Teen Summit Podcast with your host, Miss Ray. Youth with passion. Youth who speak their mind. Listen to the voices of our youth. Youth who care.
Okay, now on to our first segment. It has been a while since we've actually done a This Week In episode, so you can tell I'm pretty excited for this one because so first up we have This Week In Entertainment, and this episode we have Oh Young-soo from Squid Games. And if you do not know who he is, I will pull up his picture right here. Can you guys see? Yeah, definitely. So Oh Young-soo was from Squid Games, and he played number one, which was the old man, and he was a very significant character. And he actually became the first Korean actor to win a Golden Globe. And he won Best Performance by a Supporting Actor in a series at the 79th award show. Now, Young-soo says, while embracing the fragrance of our culture and the love of our family, I thank you all around the world. Now, previously on a former This Week In episode where I talked about entertainment, I brought up the Golden Globes and how they were under fire for being discriminatory and having no organizers who were people of color. Now, Squid Games is well-known worldwide due to Netflix, social media, and like the media in general. So my question for everyone is, do you think these awards towards international films or shows are overdue, especially if they are doing extremely well in America, or no?
I feel that do you mind just repeating your question again, just so I can get my flow back in?
All right, so with the Golden Globes, discriminatory practices and like that allegation in the past, do you think these awards towards international films and shows are overdue, especially if they are doing extremely well in America?
I feel definitely they are. It's like you think about what really sells, and true stories sell. Like I know Squid Game is, based off of like a fake game people created, but it's like you see someone that looks like yourself in something, you're gonna want to watch it or you're gonna relate to it, and then it's like it becomes a part of you and you living. So I feel that the allegations are definitely true, and it's finally getting to a point where we can like really talk about it in the industry, and that people will really care to hear more about it. And so we can see how we can fix that. But definitely.
Um, I was just trying to look up the sales of international movies, because that was actually the first thing that came to mind for me in terms of like what Jasmine said about like what sells. And in the last 20 years, according to Hollywood Insider, the international market for movies became a predominant factor in the film industry. Out of 42.2 billion made at the box office worldwide in 2019, US and Canada took in 11.4 billion, but the international box office made up over 70% of total revenue. And I thought that was kind of interesting, with the abundance of international films on Netflix and a lot of streaming places too. And so, I mean, I think it just goes, I think it does support that point of being able to give international actors their rightful credit, because they are generating a lot of money for the film industry in general.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like right now Netflix is the only opportunity international actors really have to, be awarded for their work. And that's not a good thing because Netflix is like widespread. And I don't know much about like international shows being put on TV, especially like for a long time, like Netflix has them. So, I feel like it definitely should be noticed, and it's something that has been overlooked for a while, especially since we have like telenovelas on, American TV, like, and they're not awarded as much when they should be. So yeah, that was just one example.
Definitely. Like, I feel like no matter who you are, what you are, you should always get recognized. Like, if you're a dog and you done made a whole bunch of videos, you should get recognized. But like, especially people who don't get recognized. So like, since he was the first, you said the Korean actor, right? He should get recognized because there's not many actors out there who are Korean who come to America and they all of a sudden say, "Oh yeah, let's be in some movies, Netflix shows, whatever," and then people automatically say, "Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Let's now put them on billboards. Let's get them a reward." No, they don't do that. They most of the time they just kind of don't worry about it. So I think they should, and they deserve it because they put in the work. If you put in the work, you deserve all that work gives.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And with the allegations from the Golden Globe, I have one more question. Like, do you think the award that was given to Oh Young Soo was genuine, or, just another scheme?
I believe it could be a spur of the moment type of situation where it's like maybe it's fear once again with those allegations. They're like not saying that he did not deserve his award or something, but I feel that the people voting may have like fear of the allegations and they're constantly thinking about it. And they're like, hey, if we don't select him, then people are going to be really upset and they're going to fight us back. So let's go ahead and pick him. Although it should just be that he got it because he was doing good in his role and he did what he was supposed to do for his job, and it became a wide stream thing. There could be a spur of the moment type of situation.
I definitely agree because a lot of the times when people have like when it's like a new person new race that's getting recognized, or person who is like from somewhere else, they come to America, or even just period, they don't usually think of it as like, oh yeah, let's just automatically do it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Naye said. I would just like to share that an audience member stated, unfortunately, actors get stuck in their genre, and that is a form of racism. Black artists are stuck in Black movies, white in white movies, and so on. I couldn't agree with that more. I feel like, in this time, like we're starting to integrate a little bit more, but there's always like, people who watch the movies and stuff like that get caught up in, oh, what would the white person do? What would the Black person do? What would the Asian person do? What would the Hispanic person do? I feel like there's still like a difference or like a separation within the audience members, if not the actual movie or the show itself. So like, I don't know why, like how we're gonna get rid of that, but it just seems to just be there for now.
Answer to your question, Aisha, was it genuine? I mean, I was like, so what? So what if it wasn't genuine? Like at a from a artist perspective, a creative entrepreneur perspective, like that's myself too. Sometimes, thoughts go across my head like, oh, do they really like my stuff, or are they just whatever? If they're paying him and they're giving him the celebrity, this is just, again, an opposing side, shouldn't matter if it was genuine, or how do we know? I mean, we don't know. Of course, we're just outsiders spectating, but I do think that thought can get into a lot of people. And again, this is a generalization. A lot of, especially Black people's psyche, or people of color, of like, they weren't really supporting us. So they were just using our culture to make money. And so that's why you see a lot of petitions and strikes of people of color in different films and movies, because it's like, well, if you don't really appreciate my art, you don't really appreciate my craft. So there's two sides to that, I believe, because I personally know you can't change people's intentions or their motives, but I also know that all money isn't good money, all fame and celebrity isn't the right type. So it's just another perspective to think about. Jasmine, did you want to change what you were going to say or add on to that?
I can add on to what you said. And yeah, like you said, at the end of the day, that's another like great thing that they have on their resume. That's another good thing that they have on their like just portfolios. So regardless of the true intentions, then you could just look at the goodness of what's going on and use that to become better, and use that as motivation for things.
I agree. Even though like it's better to like get a reward for like what you actually done and people actually mean it. Um it's still, even if they didn't mean it, you still get that reward, and um you're still now recognized, because even if they didn't, they only did it just for the viewers, or just for the people who like might think that it's weird that that was a great like uh show on Netflix. um it still is that reward, and no matter what, like now it's them looking crazy, because now it's getting a lot of recognition, even if they didn't mean it.
One more thing before we transition, because this is a real life example. I don't know if you all ever experienced this, but sometimes when you post things on social media, it could be like something you're very proud of or whatever, and it's something I'm working with too. It'll get no likes, like no one likes it or whatever, and then you post something that maybe you don't care about so much, and everybody likes it, and just like, okay, why? And so, or people who maybe never saw you before, or maybe never supported anything, and all of a sudden they're liking your stuff or whatever the case is. And what I've learned is to use it as fuel, just kind of like what Jasmine said. You have the platform, use it as an opportunity, because again, we can't control whether or not how people perceive us. All we can do is take it and choose how we want to move forward with it. So it's even if you're listening, you don't have to be an actor to kind of experience the same thing. Like, nobody sees me, or nobody appreciates what I do, and they only like me when I do this. Be able to use those opportunities to still grow.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like that like just goes to show the focus that a lot of people on social media really has, especially when it comes to Instagram, movies, TV shows, and all. So thank you guys for pitching into This Week in Entertainment. Nae, Do you have anything to say?
Yes, but it seems like there's some stuff in the chat for um Noah said, I think it's about being genuine to yourself and being transparent for your growth. Love that. That's actually like some wise words. This week in animals. Yeah. So I just want to know, does any of you guys have like any like furry little animals, like little pets, dogs, cats? I don't know.
I don't have a furry pet. I have a pet fish.
I have a wet pet.
Yes, he's a data redfish, nicknamed Red. So
Oh, that's cute. Okay, so so we're mainly gonna be talking about dogs. So has anybody ever thought about like if dogs could understand you if you talked another language? Like just curious. Cause um I was doing some research for school, for engineering. Our assignment was to choose something that is recent and write about it. And so I came across this interesting article called Dogs Know When You're Speaking Another Language and Talking Nonsense. And I was like, what? I was kind of curious. Like, I mean, I wondered if they could like knew other languages, but at the same time, I was like, maybe that's just like humans. Humans know things. So when I studied it and I read it, this basically the study was about how dogs like interpret and listen, and understand like different types of speech. So what they did with the study was they put a dog, as you can see, the dog right there. They basically put a dog inside of a MRI little tube thingy, but they put headphones on the dog and they made the dog sit still, and they played in the dog's ear the words the little prince, and they had it in Hungarian and Spanish, and one of the languages was unfamiliar. And then they also put like jumbled up words that was like nonsense to see if the dog would react. And so they tested about 18 dogs, and they the study came out that dogs' brains can like detect the changes, which was very interesting because I mean it makes sense why every time like you play a noise or something, they kind of start barking or start looking sideways. So this a fact is that this shows that dogs are the first non-primates to show they can like process the ability to understand spontaneous language. um yeah, that was an interesting thing that I kind of sort of came across, in that I don't know. I thought I should share. So my question is to you guys: Has any of you have any? Has any? So okay. First, I want to ask: Does any of you guys know like a different language or talk a different language?
no Spanish.
Okay, okay. Aisha.
Speaking of dogs, animals, sorry, the purr.
Wow, Miss
Sorry,
Ray.
I'm real corny, but I just had to pick that up. But continue. I love puns, which are plays on words. So
Thank you.
I speak broken English.
Okay. So, have any of you tried to? No, this is just a question. Like, just has anyone tried to speak another language to their pet or someone else's pet or a dog? Just wondering.
I mean, I guess it's how you look at it. When you tell your dog like commands like sit or something, it's like they understand only because it's like a memorization type of thing. Like, when you just say sit constantly and then you keep telling them to do the action, are they, I guess it's like a question and an answer. Are they truly understanding that word? Or are they just thinking, hey, this person is saying this and this means that, so I'm going to do that so I don't get like in trouble or something. Like, I guess that's what we do when we do talk to animals or something, or people say like hi baby or something. They get happy because those words may signify happy memories or happiness going on in their lives. They get a treat right after you say that. So I don't.
I also feel like it depends on the tone that you're using, because a lot of the times like dogs will, react based on moods and emotions. So like that might play a part. But I remember one day I had an argument with my sister because she said dogs can understand different languages. And I said that they couldn't. First, like, I don't know why I said that. I feel like it's a part of living in your own world. Like when you live in your own world and like you don't really think about the outside of it. That's where I was at. So I was like, they can't understand, they can't understand like another language or like even your language when you're speaking to them. But I do think it's both the language, like words, and the tone and emotions.
To add on to that, I think Aisha was in my head a little bit around when you're in your own world, you think everything revolves around you. And what would be really cool to like as an expansion of this research, I don't know if they did do it, was to take a dog from who lives in Portugal where they speak Spanish and bring that dog here.
They speak Portuguese.
I'm sorry, correct me, just especially since we were talking about cultural appropriateness earlier. So if they speak Portuguese and then bring the dog here in a whole new environment, like would the dog understand English? Because again, it's like just because their world is the only world that's there, does it translate? I think that would be really cool to test that out, because just like you were saying, Jasmine, in Portugal, they would give Portuguese commands. And if they were here, they would give English commands. And I mean, that's how the dog was just trained. They didn't know anything else. They grew up Portuguese, a Portuguese dog. So I think that'd be interesting.
I'm curious. Do you guys think that you know how dogs bark, right? So do you think their bark could be like a different language, or like there's different types of barks for different like places? I don't know. That's just like an interesting thought. Like, do they really like understand the language and their bark actually is like that language maybe? Or because like dogs communicate with each other. So can like a dog from Portugal and a dog from Hungary, like, is that what it's called? Hungary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can they come together and like communicate and still understand each other?
I see. I feel like this goes back to being in your own world, because I was not thinking about like the dogs actually communicating to each other. I was thinking about the humans communicating to the dogs. But I mean, if we can do it, I think they can do it too.
I feel like this got really sci-fi-ish real quick, like alien languages. But I think this brings up a larger point around communication, with just communication in general. People who speak different languages, like how do you communicate? Whether it's through body language, whether it's through eye contact, what are the other ways that they can still communicate? Because I'm sure if you looked at the behavior of dogs, that may be constant, meaning like snuggling with a dog, or just things that are universal outside of language. I think this is a very interesting topic. And for those of you who might be going off to college soon, interested in language like linguistics is a major in college where you learn about etymology and roots of words and all sorts of cool stuff. So if you're listening and you think you have these thoughts, they're not weird, and there's actually a subject and area that you can learn about it. So anyways.
I see Noah said something in the chat. I think they do. I think they understand mannerism. They believe love is love and they believe hate is hate. I think I was going to add something kind of like that. In my astronomy class, shout out to my astronomy teacher at school, we were talking about something you said about the aliens. We were talking about whether if we sent a signal out to aliens, would they know anything? Like it was on one of the spaceships or something that they sent out, and it has a gold reflector thing. I think it was a Hubble. There's a gold reflector thing, and if they're advanced enough, they would know what the gold is, and then we could get somewhere if there were to be aliens. I was like, well, how do we know that that's enough? Like, how do we know that that's a base level of something? And then I thought about it as humans. I was like, well, something something that we may think here in America will be nice may not be nice in other countries. Like, I can't think of anything or I guess it's a little different. Like, when you're slurping something, and I believe, yes, England, if you're slurping your tea, it's rude. But if you're in Japan, if you're slurping I think it is Japan. I believe it's Japan last I recall. If you're slurping either tea or you're slurping ramen, it means that the meal was good. I'm just paraphrasing. I have to believe that's what it was. But things like that, I know that has a lot of things to do with culture and stuff, but things we may see as hello may not be that same. And there's even different tribes and places on the earth that we have not, it's not really documented because they want to keep it, as traditional as possible. So I was thinking, the dogs and like the modern dog, like now will know whether a cuddle is nice, and they'll know if someone's hitting them is mean. Because it's just very interesting as you thinking. You really to the alien thing. That's what really made me think about that.
Yeah. We're all aliens at the end of the day, I think. We're foreign to somebody.
I do have like one last question that just like to just think about. How do you think that this study can have a positive impact on people and dogs' lives? Like, do you think this study can impact humans in any kind of way?
I think we started to touch on it. For me, it's just about understanding, like coming into a conversation with someone who may be speaking a different language with a base level of like, we might not understand our language, but we can have an understanding. Like if dogs can understand a foreign language, then humans can also seek to understand each other. And for me, that's what I would get as a lesson that I could take from it. What about y'all?
I agree. I think we could take that. I think if there's a yearning to want to connect, there'll be a way. They'll find a way. Like humans, we'll find a way to translate that language. We'll find a book. We'll find even the Google Translate. If we want to connect with somebody, we'll go through the effort to do it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like one form of language we didn't talk about as much is body language, because dogs really do pay attention to body language a lot more than like actual words. So I feel like now that we got a chance to really look at the article, it can impact a lot of ways that humans, communicate with dogs, because they know that they understand more than what we thought they do. So they'll just be not cautious, but more like attentive to when they're like, being around dogs or like talking to them or doing things and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes, we are going to see what's this week in COVID. So we're going to talk about prom. Prom is coming up very fast for a lot of high schools. People are preparing for prom. I myself in my school am the president of the prom committee. So like I'm thinking about preparing prom. The only problem is COVID has really messed us up. We don't know how we can do things, especially in 2020. Prom was just canceled. People were struggling, they were freaking out. So we're going to talk about, just vaguely, because I have another awesome topic after this, how proms, what people did for proms. Now I have an article from my state, Virginia, from what different people were doing, but they also talk about in other states. Like in Missouri, they did an unprom, where people went to the drive-in and they just had like a open type of area where people still dressed up and they had fun. People just want to have fun with this. So last year in high school, they've been waiting so long to attend this party, and then it just gets canceled. It's not awesome. It's not very fun. So another school in Virginia Beach, they had a non-prom at the beach where it was just open. And a lot of schools, they just wanted to have like a big open space where it was outdoorsy. And all once again, this is in 2020 where COVID was just like the biggest. I know it's dwindled down and it's going back up, but it wasn't as it is now where we can kind of work things out. People are still figuring out about COVID. It was safe for the most part, but then the aftermath came. People started having private prom parties, like at their homes or just other places, and they hosted it there. And then that's when COVID outbreaks started to happen. And then other people start getting COVID, and then it just steadily rises. So we're left with the question, how do we plan a prom without people wanting to be secretive and have other private proms, which of course they have every right to do. But it leads to more cases all because one thing is canceled. So what do you guys think about that first question? Like what can be done?
I think what can be done is that, people in schools, a lot of schools have now like started testing and stuff like in like the beginning of the week to make sure like make sure people are like negative and stuff. My school, we're about to have a formal, and in order for us to actually go to the formal, we have to take our test, like our normal test that we take on Mondays. We have to actually take it. Like if you don't take it, then you can't come to the formal. Like if you say, "Oh, I don't want to take it because I just don't want to," and you try to like do all that, then you just won't be going to the formal because you have to take it in order to actually come to the formal. We were thinking of actually doing what's it called, the rapid test, like a day before or something, but then it was like it's a lot. So I mean, it's possible, and it is like a good way to be safe, but at the same time, you don't want to like put too much pressure on people, especially since like some of the rapid tests aren't even true. So you don't want to like do a rapid test and then it comes back positive, and then you're really not. So the PCR testing, is that what it's called? I don't want to say it wrong. Um, those are like the most accurate, and you have to do those like in advance. So even if that's just like if it's not even on Monday, maybe it's Tuesday or Wednesday, and you take that test and you make sure that you are negative before you even try to go to the prom, and having like schools actually providing them.
You know, I like this topic a lot because it reminds me of an article I read about Baltimore and them having like a virtual prom where they just dress up, come on the Zoom and like actually dance, and there's music on the, it was funny to me because it was like here, if that were to ever occur, it would probably be like at most 5 people on the Zoom because like it would just, a lot of people wouldn't really like it as much because there's nothing normal about that to them. But to gain back that normalcy, I would say, like Naya said, like do the testing. We do testings every Sunday, so we can do that. And also like minimize the amount of people or have like a number requirement for who can come to the prom. Like, I don't know, like 200 each class or like 100 each class, and have like an open space to like open it to everybody and actually give them all a chance to like the opportunity to come.
Even doing oh maybe even doing more than one prom. Maybe like if you have like a humongous school and like you need to do two proms, and because your gym or whatever is not that big enough, I mean that big, that's also an idea, just to do more than one prom, so that even though one certain amount of people gets to have fun, even the other amount of people also get to have fun, and it's not like, oh, it's a lot of people and then somebody like it's COVID or whatever, it's smaller and it's less people and it's less with like people in one space. I don't know how to. I can't think of the word that I was thinking of.
Yeah, I was actually about to say that, and I just want to clarify. These proms did take place 2021, not 2020. They were 2021, so people did have a chance to think about what they were going to do for the next year. So sorry, seniors, for 2020. But yes, I was thinking, and I have to think outside the box for this because my school, we only have less than 300 students, so it wouldn't really be a problem. And then it's only juniors and seniors going anyway, so that's not even a whole school. But for other schools with like 1,000 kids, 900 kids, maybe 2 proms would be good. This actually reminds me of a case back in Georgia, and it was even in the 90s and even early 2000s where there were integrated proms, which is not the fun thing we're talking about. It was white proms and black proms, and or like minority proms. And even to this day, there are still some schools where they'll have a white prom and they'll have a black prom, and the school is integrated. The students go to school together, but they don't go to prom together. So it's like all of these questions about prom. Like here, we think prom is just, oh, everybody at the school can go together, but in some schools, COVID may not even be a problem if the school, if the prom is already split in half between students of color and white students. So it's just a lot to think about.
Yeah, so I feel like I've been serving as the screen article sharer because that's really a really good point, which I think we might have to explore a little bit more in our second season. But yeah, that's really good. So if anyone is curious, you want to check this out, we'll put this link in the show notes when we post our YouTube and Spotify podcast around the controversy of segregation of proms in Georgia in this example.
I just wanted to talk about last year was really big for movie musicals and Latinx actors and actresses. We had movies like In the Heights come out. We had West Side Story come out. We had Encanto come out, which did you know is like #1 on Spotify, TikTok, literally everything. That we don't talk about Bruno's song is huge. And a really big breakout star for last year was Anthony Ramos, and he is right here with Lin-Manuel Miranda, who was the creator of Hamilton, and they worked together in Hamilton. But In the Heights, he was big star in the Heights for 2021, which is a story of a Dominican man who was in the Heights in New York City, who talks about just living in the Heights. And then there's a lot of it involved in love interests and friends, and it's about gentrification, and there's different stories. But it was a really big year for these actors and actresses and producers. And then Lin-Manuel Miranda had 4 big movies come out last year. He had Vivo, Tick Tick Boom, Encanto, and In the Heights. Yeah, In the Heights. But it was just a really big musical movie year and a big Latino actor year. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. Thought that was very interesting and relatable to people.
Can I just bring up how those two like have this one style, and like no matter what they're in, you automatically know it's them. Like
Yes.
when I watched Yubo, or this that was called, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, that's literally the guy from Hamilton. I knew it just from watching it. I was like, bet I am gonna love this. Like, it's just gonna be amazing, and it definitely was.
You can just hear it in the voice. Like all you, if you never watched the show and you listen to like the soundtrack like I did, all you have to hear is the voice. Like the voice literally tells it all.
But you would never know if you don't watch Hamilton. You have to watch Hamilton. If you don't watch Hamilton, you're not gonna understand at all.
I saw a ranking of Lin-Manuel Miranda movies, and Hamilton was #1. And then he also did Moana back in 2016. And I think I listed, and he also did Mary Poppins in 2018. I think I listed all his movies yet. But I think those were really good movies for last year. COVID did not help them when it came out, but yeah.
Looks like we're gonna have like I think we started doing this when we first started having a Teen Summit podcast, like playlist or something. So yeah, I think that would be cool, or like movie recommendations. But awesome episode. So glad to have you as a part of our team, Jasmine. You definitely add a lot of value. And at the Lake Arbor, we always are trying to empower and just enrich youth voices. So thank you for all of you sharing your gifts with us tonight. As always, we're going to post the replay on YouTube, Spotify, wherever podcasts are listened to and streamed. And next episode on Thursday, February 10th, is our episode 25. So we are closing out our first season. We started back in November of 2020, and we have come a long way. So stay tuned for that episode, because we'll have lots of fun, exciting things going on. Might have some special guests, some past guests, some past co-hosts, so you don't want to miss it. Until February 10th, have a wonderful, spectacular, amazing evening, and we'll see you next time.